Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another painting with Harold. I am Harold, and tonight I've got a 16 by 20 inch canvas turned on portrait that has already got a thin, even coat of liquid white applied to it. And the colors tonight are just about every color, if not every color, in the Bob Ross lineup. We got titanium white, phthalo blue, Prussian blue, phthalo green, alizarin crimson, dark sienna, Van Dyke brown, mountain color, midnight black, sap green, cad yellow, yellow ochre, Indian yellow, and the evil bright red. Now, the reason I have all the colors out is because this painting is a painting that I've seen in my head, and I don't really know what all colors will be needed, so I just got them all out. And if I don't use them all, I'll save what I don't use and put it in something else. But what we're going to try tonight is a little cabin sitting in front of a wooded area with a mountain behind it, with maybe a little small pond out beside it. Just something real peaceful looking. That it's going to have some areas of difficulty in it, but a lot of it will be kind of on the simple side. Some of it, some of it won't. But if you follow along, you'll be able to paint it. I mean, you don't have to be a pro to paint this. In fact, you don't have to be a pro to paint any of these paintings. But if you get confused about anything on it, you can just stop the video and rewind it and start it back or whatever. Or feel free to comment to me and ask me any question, and I'll be more than glad to try to help you out. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to make a little sky. We won't have a lot of sky today. But to do that, I'm going to start out with a little bit of phthalo blue and just a tiny bit of alizarin crimson mixed in. And I'm just going for kind of a lavender color. And I want my lavender color more to the alizarin side. Now you can do yours however you want, but well, the way these mixed on the brush with them being mixed like that, with the blue and the alizarin showing up, I kind of like that a lot. Oh wow. Okay, we'll just keep it like that for now then. Then we'll bring this across from this side. Just trying to keep in mind that, doing these little X strokes, we want our corners to stay good and dark, and we want to use these X strokes and leave us a few little light spots in the sky. Now we're not going to have a whole lot of sky today, but what we do have will be, if it stays like that, it'll be really pretty. If we don't kill all of it. That color did turn out pretty nice. Alright, then we just blend this out. And as of right now, we don't have to wash the brush. We can leave it like it is. Alright, then I want to take a little bit of titanium white, and I'm using a small number 3 fan brush for this. I want to pull out just a little titanium white, and I want to take just a small, very small touch of red and put in it. Not much red at all. In fact, it'll look kind of light pink. Then we want to come up and just take our fan brush and just come anywhere you want to up here, and go to put you some little circles up here, making you a cloud. And you can make your clouds as big as you want or as small as you want up here, because the clouds are not really going to play too much of a role today, other than just being visible in the sky. They're not going to be the main focus of this painting at all. So with that being said, just come up and do your clouds however you want. You know, they're not that important today. But if you want some pretty clouds up here, just put you a few up here. And just remember to keep the brush moving while you're doing your clouds. And then we may do one just kind of over here on the side a little bit. There'll probably be some trees come in from this side, but we'll bring this cloud over far enough that it won't completely kill it if we do bring a cloud in here. I mean a tree in here. Just about like so. We went and met some friends last night in a little small town not far from here. We went out and ate, and then after we ate, we went out to one of the local parks and sat around and just talked and caught up. It's been a few months since we've seen them. And we got there just a little bit before sunset. And I didn't have a camera with me. But I'm going to tell you, that sky yesterday was absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it was almost unreal to look at. The clouds that were in the sky, with the way that sun was setting and hitting them, I mean, it was a blessing to see it. I'll say that. It was really a blessing. Because God was showing out yesterday. The colors they were just unreal. The tops of those clouds had a yellow hue in the crown coming out with touching that white and then into a gray, turning into an almost purple. It was so gray. I mean, it was just absolutely beautiful. But I didn't have a camera, so I didn't get a photo. And I tell myself all the time, carry a camera with you, carry a camera. Because you never know when you're gonna be out riding and see that perfect spot that you think, wow, that would make a pretty painting. But you don't have nothing there with you to paint it. So, all right, I'm gonna knock that paint out of the brush that we used to do the sky with. And I'm gonna come back up using just a corner of my 2-inch brush and just very gently go across the bottom. Blend that out, and then come across the other side and just blend that out. Now these little stringy clouds I made, they're just there for show, more or less. And we'll just blend across them. That's all we got to do for them. Just lightly pull them out. I feel like a majority of it will get covered up anyway. Alright, then we want to come up and we want to lightly fluff up our big clouds and just barely come across them and set them down into the sky, just like so. And that should be all we have to do to clouds today. But we still don't have to wash this brush just yet. We'll hang on to it a little bit longer. Alright, now I'm going to pick up my filbert brush. And I think I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go into the Van Dyke Brown. And I'm going to come right up here into these clouds. And I'm going to come down and I'm going to kick out a little bit. And just like so. Then we'll come back up here and kind of cut across at a little angle right there. And then come down on this side. And then give myself another little kick out about right here. And then come down. I'll pick up just a little more paint. And I'll come out right here, make that bottom wider, just like so. And I'll come over here and I'll do the same thing right there. Just kind of make this bottom a little wider. And then I'll knock the paint out of this filbert brush on my napkin or my paper towel. And I'll come right up here and just start pulling this color down. I want to pull as much of it down as we can. That way we don't have a whole lot of buildup in here. And just try to stay in your line if you can. And you know what happens if you get out of it? Your mountain grows just a little bit. But we already know that if the mountain grows a little bit, that's not a problem. We already know we can fix it. We can just about fix any problem we run into. But I think a lot of people they get scared when they're painting. They're scared they're gonna mess something up. And what they don't realize is you really can't mess up. I mean, you may have an accident or you may make a mistake, but the thing of it is, you can prepare or repair so many mess ups in oil painting that, I mean, it's just unreal how forgiving this medium is. Alright. Now I'm not going back down to pick up no more paint. I'm just dragging some of this, just thinning it out across here because I do not want a lot of buildup up here because of what we got to do. About like that's all we need for the mountain we're going for today. I'll go ahead and wash this filbert, get it clean. Now if this painting looks anything like it does in my mind, I think you'll enjoy it. I think it'll be something to be proud of. That, you know, if you want to try painting it and you get a decent result, it'll be one of those paintings that you want to show off to people. Alright, so now I'm going to pick up my small knife and I'm going to come right into just a little bit of dark sienna and just a little bit of white and mix these colors together on the brush. On the knife. Don't mix them together on a brush. Alright, then I'm going to come into just a little bit of yellow ochre and put into the same color and just kind of marble them all together. They don't have to be mixed perfect, just kind of loose is fine. Alright, we're going to come across here, pull it out as flat as we can get it, and we'll come across and get that little roll of paint. And we'll start right here. We just want to just barely touch right in here, and that's all we want to do right there. We'll pick us up another little roll. We'll come up above it on this next peak. I'm going to pull it down just a little bit. I want to come down to about right there. Now if you stop short, you know, like if you stop short of where I'm at right there, that's probably good because I really didn't want to come down that far. But, I mean, we know we can fix it. Alright, then I want to come up to this peak. And I want to just kind of pull it down Let that paint break. Just let it break, like so. Pull you out another little bit, flat as you can get it. Pick you up another little roll. Come right back up here and just pull it down a little bit. I'm going to stop this time before I get too far down. Because what I'm looking for is basically the top up here. I don't want a whole lot of bottom showing right now. I want to work on just the top. About like so. And then about like that. That's all we need to do right there. Then we'll use that little side. And I'll come over here on this peak. And I'll put just a little color up here. Shouldn't take a lot. Just a little bit across the top, just like that. Then I'll come over here on this little peak. And we'll run a little paint down on it. It shouldn't take much there. About like so. Then I want to take a little bit of alizarin crimson and just a little bit of blue. Mix these colors together. Looking for a dark lavender, kinda. A little bit darker than the sky. That way I can bring just a little bit of white in there and kind of tone it down some. About like that. Because I don't want a lot of this color up here. I want just enough that you can see it. But we don't want a lot of this color. About like that. That's all we're looking for. Just something to show that we got us a shadow up here. Just come in here with that same color and just kind of work it out. Just like so. And then come over here on this side and pull a little lid out on this side, just like so. And like I said, we don't really need a lot of this color up here because it's we got a couple more things to do up here yet to make this look like what we're really going for. But we want to keep everything together as we do this. Not like that. That's what we're looking for. It's coming together. Yeah, there we go. Now, I'm going to pick up just a little bit of plain titanium white and we'll pull it out as flat as I can get it. And I'm going to pick up that little roll. And I'm going to come up here and just barely touch. Just barely touch. I did not want a lot of this color up here. Just barely touch. Just let the canvas pull off what it will and then move on. Just barely let it touch. Well, we may pick up a little more for that peak. Since the peak is up there in the sun. We'll pick up a little more for up here. But then we'll move on from here. And just come down a little bit. Like I said, we don't want a lot up here, just a tad. And then we want to bring a little more white into that same color we were just using, and then lighten it up a little bit into that lavender. And we want a shade lighter now than what we had, so that way when we come back up here and we come back over it real light, and leave a little of the dark under it, but just add a little light there, and it'll just look like a little light shining off the lavender just a little bit, because we're not working real dark day today. It's kind of light out. About like that's all we need to do. Just to give ourselves a little color in here. Just to say, hey, here I am. About like that's all we need to do. And that should do everything we want it to do right there. And if you're not 100% happy with it, look up there and see what part you're unhappy with. Like right now, I can already see where I'm gonna be unhappy, and that's right here. I want that to be solid across here. I don't need it to be all weak looking like that. Then I'll come up here and I'll pull a little of this. I'll pull a little of this color out, just like that, just to give it that. About like that should be alright, I think. Maybe come across here a little better, like so. And you can always take a little more, just a tiny bit of white, and just touch it here and there, just to make it look like a little light bled over. It don't take much. Anytime you're using that white, it don't take much to get the effect you're looking for. About like that's all we need to do. Yep, I think that already looks better. Alright, now we want to take our 2-inch brush that we were using earlier, and want to take it right into the white and just tap us some color on the brush. Now it'll still have a little of that lavender in it, and that's fine. But we want to come right up here across the bottom and just tap it on first. Get that color up here. Just like so. And then just kind of following the same angles, just come up here and just lightly tap out the bottom of that mountain. Going across here, like so. Be sure to follow the angles though, that's the key here. You don't want to sweep across your angles. If you do, it's gonna make it look like a reflection in water. Alright. Then we'll knock the brush off again. Still haven't washed it. We'll come across the bottom here and kind of brush this out a little bit. Then we'll take and pull up real lightly across here. Back up, same angles. Just make sure you keep the same angles. And then you can come back up and kind of work the bottom out, like so. Just looking for that fine layer of mist down here. That's all we're looking for. We want this mountain left floating in the air. just floating in a cloud of mist back here. That's all we want him to do. Just hang out back here by himself and have a good old time. About like so. That's all we're looking for. Now's when the fun begins. We're going to pick up our small round brush. And I'm going to come right up here. And I'm going to go right into some dark sienna. Just a little. Tap it right on the brush. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to get just a little bit of the midnight black. Then I'm going to come up here, right on this side of the mountain over here, and I want to just start lightly tapping. And I want to come across the bottom here, come across the bottom of my mountain. Be sure to leave some of that mist showing. You can come up into it in a couple places, but just make sure that you don't kill all this mist. You got to leave some of the mist back here. Because if you don't leave some of the mist, this whole illusion will go away. And then you won't have the look of distance in this painting. I'm gonna pick up just a little bit more paint. Come down over here, back up. Just like that maybe. Come up a little bit above the mountain on this side. And come back down. See how this is leaving that little mist back there? Even though you don't have a whole layer of mist, you did leave enough that you can see the mist back there. And that's really all you got to do. I mean, you don't have to leave all of it, just enough that you can tell what's happening. All right, then we'll come up here with a tree and come across the bottom, not like so. Just bring this all the way back across, just like that. You can come up here, make this look more like a tree if you want to. And just bring it on down, tie it in over here, just like so. About like that. Then we will pick up our liner brush, the little script liner brush, and dip it in a little thinner. We'll take it around that same color that we was just using. We'll come up here and give ourselves a little trunk and some branches and these trees up here, just here and there. You don't have to have a trunk everywhere if you're in your world if you don't want them. You know, if you see a spot that you think would be a trunk, then put it there. If you don't think there ought to be a trunk there, then don't put it there. Just put them wherever you want them. And just keep in mind that the chances of these trunks even being seen once we start highlighting, you know, you may not see one of them. And the reason we're putting them in there, you know, you may say, well, if we're not going to see them, why are we doing it? Well, we're doing it in case you do see them. Because if you do see them, then it'll look good in the paint. It'll look real good. All right, then we'll wash that brush out. All right, now that 2-inch brush that we were using to blend out the bottom of the mountain with a while ago, I'm gonna go ahead and wash it right quick. And that way we can come back up here and make our next step. Just beat it dry. Knock all the thinner out of it. Then clean it off on a paper towel if you have to. Then we want to come right up into these. We want to come across and tap these in real good. And this is good amount of pressure here, if you can, as you can hear. I mean that that brush is hitting that canvas pretty hard. Then we'll knock a little of this color out. Come back under the bottom here. Lightly blend that out, like so. And come up here, kind of round and around like a cloud if you want to, just round and round. Because what you're going to end up with when you do that is you're going to end up with a little paint line across here. But I'll show you how to get rid of that. I'll come back up here and tap it again. And don't forget, if you ever do this and you don't get the mist you're looking for, you can always take and add just a little bit of white to it. It just depends on how much mist it is you're looking for. And you can come in here and just very lightly flick this up. Just make sure you don't get into your trees too much and disorient them. And then come back up and just blend it out again. Because you got that liquid white on the canvas already, so. But just to show you what I'm talking about, I'll go over here and I'll pick up a little of the white. You can come back in here and just tap across first and get that white off your brush. And you bring it up here and just start working it up. Just little by little, just start working it up. And that's all you're looking for. Is just work it up to the bottom of these other bushes. And then just kind of blend it out. Like so. And then lightly, very lightly, just pull up. And what that'll do by pulling that up like that is it'll give the bottom of these trees back here, it'll give them a kind of a look like there's something on the ground back there anyway. Alright, we'll hang on to that brush for now. And we'll come back in here. This time we're going to go into our dark sienna again. We're going to pick us up a little bit of Van Dyke brown this time. And a little bit of the midnight black. Because we want a darker color this time. Tap it on the brush. This time come up a little taller. And start giving yourself a tree shape coming down. And then just come down till you get across the bottom of these, and you can come up into that. You can come up into that into your other trees over here, because this color's darker, so it's gonna push everything back. But even at that, you can still leave a little of the mist in here. And you don't want to go up here and kill none of these trees. You shorter ones. You know, leave them there too. But just come up and where you got these, basically where that line was. You just come across here and leave yourself some mist back there. And it'll still look misty. You ain't got to worry about that. Because we smashed it out. That mist is back here. Plus, like I said, we're using a darker color, so that's gonna help us anyway as far as keeping the color darker in front of the other little line of trees we got up here, which is what we want to do. All right, then we'll come up from over here and we'll give ourselves a little tree shape right in here. Just kick this out like so. Just give ourselves a little tree shape across here. About like that. That's about all we need. Yep. Almost that looks good. And we'll hang on to that brush for now. And then we'll go right back and pick up our script liner again. Now this time we're going to go into the same color, the darker color we just made that we used to make these trees. And we'll come up here and put us in a trunk and a couple little branches here and there, just in case they're seen. We don't know if they will be or not, but just in case they are, we want to know they're back here. They're here if we need them. Whether or not we'll need them, I don't know. Just have to wait and see how the paint plays out. Because sometimes they'll stay with you, and then sometimes you get to highlight and it gets to feeling good, and you done highlighted so much that you done killed every branch you got up there. So you just kind of have to wait and see how it works out, I guess. Alright, from here, I think what we'll do, before we get ahead of ourselves too far, is I think we will go ahead and start doing a little highlighting, and that way we can go from there and see about what we got to do in the future. So let's see, how do we want to highlight these? We'll do it with a 1-inch brush. I'll go over here and pick up just a little bit of thinner, and I'll come up here and come through the cad yellow, and then I'll pick up just a tick of green, sap green, and I'll come up here and I'll load the brush. Kind of want the color on one corner of the brush, and I don't want a lot of color up here. I want to keep this I want to keep it as subdued as we can, but at the same token, I do want a little color showing, because I know trees in the distance are not supposed to have a lot of color on them, but in this particular painting, the color's going to be everything for us in this painting. I mean, we're going to have to be able to see the different colors and all for this paint to even work like I want it to work, because it's just the kind of painting it's going to be. And I know a lot of people will tell you, well, you're not supposed to highlight trees way off in the back. And that's, that could be true. I don't know, but I mean, I don't see the harm in it when they're, not just glowing back there. All we're doing is just putting a little color on them, just to add a little color back here. Because this little bit of color back here that we're putting on right now is going to add to the overall illusion once we start doing everything else in this painting. Because this painting's got a long way to go before it even remotely feels like it's done. There's going to be a lot of stuff in this painting. But now, don't let that scare you. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm really not. I just want you to know that we're going to work colors in little by little, here and there. I mean, it's going to be a real pretty painting when we get done with it. The colors will change in the trees. They'll change on the bushes. We got to remember to save ourselves some darks. I don't know. It's just gonna be a game of colors in this painting. But it's gonna be such a fun painting to do that when we get done with it, like I said earlier, it'll be something you can be proud of if it works out right. If it don't work out right, you'll never see this video. I'll just turn the camera off and delete the tape. Or actually delete the SD card. There is no tape no more. I just gave away my age, didn't I? Yeah, them days are gone. There are no days of tape no more. You see how I'm doing that? I'm just looking around and wherever I think I may need a little color, we just adding a little color. And if you go in front of another tree, keep in the back of your mind that you want that tree behind that tree, or you want that tree in front of that tree. Because whatever tree you want in the front, you'll have to put a color over it that pushes the other one back. And I hope that makes sense. All right, now I'm going to go pick up just a little bit of bright red, and I'll bring it up here into the yellow and the green mix. Now, green and yellow are opposite colors, and they'll make a brown. So anytime you want to tone down a green color, or if you want to tone down the red color, bring the opposite color into it, and it'll tone it down for you. Like I didn't want a real bright red tree up here, but I wanted it to have that red hue to it. And you can see that that's kind of a reddish brown, a little darker than yellow ochre and green mixed, but still not so bright that it's screaming back here either. And then we'll just touch this color on. And this is a light touch. If you saw the video that I did where I was using the little oval brush and showing you the amount of pressure that it takes to put these trees up here, you'll know that that's a very light touch. It's not an aggressive touch at all. It's real light. We'll come in here and just let that get on down into the dark. Now on this side over here, we can come back in there with, let's say we want to put a little bit of yellow ochre in there with the red. You come over here, and the yellow ochre has enough brown in it that it'll tone it down some anyway, but now it'll be brighter than this side. See, it's got more of a red to it, and that's not a bad thing. You can even come pick up a little white and bring up there, and it don't take a lot of white, but you can grab a little bit of white and come back up here, and it'll even show up better. And if it starts not wanting to act right, get you just a little bit of thinner. That's all you got to do. Thin it down just a hair. But as long as you brush mix these colors, all kinds of things happen on that brush. You'll have colors just jumping out at you. Now I got to take that color back up some because that looks so good. I want to add some up here. Let's see, I killed all my branches. But that still looks good. And then we can come over here and get us a little bit of the Indian yellow now. We're moving forward, so we want to make a color change right here on this tree. But now keep in mind, when we get down here, we got to come in there and mist this bottom out again. So try not to bring your trees too far down over here. That way you can give yourself this mist without destroying these trees or bushes, because we're going to have to bring some of them up anyway. So, because the last thing we want right now is a lot of short trees. We don't want to turn everything into bushes up here. And that's what it looked like we done if we're not careful. So like that right there, push that one back. Come in there and leave yourself some dark. Just like that. Now if some of these goes to looking like bushes up here, well, that's not a terrible thing, because it's gonna work out when you come back with the other trees and go to making them a little taller. It'll still work out. Alright, now we're going to come back in here and put some more green in. Go back and make us a couple green ones. Like right in here. We'll make us a little green one. And we'll come over here, leave ourselves some dark, and make us another little green one. Just like so. And we'll pick up some more yellow ochre. A little more yellow. Try to get us like a yellow or greenish gold look right there. Oh, that's pretty. Yeah. That's real pretty. I like that. That is such a pretty color. I wonder if we can do it again. Probably won't ever make that color again. Let's see. There it is. Well, I like that color. That's really pretty. Wow. Alright, now we're over here on that reddish one, so we need more to the yellow side now to kind of get us a decent color change over here. So let's come right up here under it. Pop us in a little nice little one right there. About like so. And that looks pretty good right there. I like that. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and clean this brush for now. But I'm going to take my 2-inch brush that we used to make that mist with earlier. And I'm going to come up here and I'm going to start tapping the bottom of this brown out. Just a little of it across here. About like so. And just the bottom of some of these bushes. Some of them will stay in here, some of them will get covered up, but whatever gets covered up, I mean, it just happens that way sometimes. And come across and just kind of brush it out. Just about like so. Alright, we'll hang on to it again. Alright, let's do something kind of different now. Just for a minute. I'm gonna pick up a number 3 fan brush. And I'm gonna bring it into some I'm gonna bring it into some of the mountain mixture color. It's kind of got that black and bluish color to it. Then we'll mix a little sap green in that. More sap green than mountain color, by the way. And I want this color to be good and dark. Good and dark. And I want to come up here. Let me pull this forward where you can see it. How's that? Did that stay where you can see it? Oh yeah. Alright, I'm going to come right up here. And I'll make my mark. And I'm going to come up just a little above this tree. I mean, and no, not for any reason. I want differences in height back here. If you want yours shorter, make it shorter. If you want it taller, make it taller. I just want to show a difference in height right in here. I don't want everything to end up staggered across there like that. All right. I'll make it just a little bit taller, just so we can say we did. All right, put the brush sideways, drop down a little, and I'm gonna do some up trees, is what these are called. And you're just pushing up, going left to right, left to right. Just pushing them up, using just a corner of that fan brush. I'm not going in straight. I'm using just a corner. And all I'm doing is when I come left, I'm pushing up, and when I go right, I'm pushing up. And you can get a little wider and a little wider as you go down. And now if you're not careful, before you know it, you'll get too wide, and you'll have a tree that's this wide up here. If you've seen that making mistakes video, you'll know what I mean. You know, it happened on that video. I mean, just out of nowhere, that tree grew into what did I say? I said you could carry it to the New York City Times Square and use it as a Christmas tree. But just like that, we come up here and we just put us a little evergreen in right there. And the only reason we did that is just to give it a flavor back here. You know, everything's not deciduous trees. You know, we do have a pine or evergreen. I won't say a pine, because pine trees here where I'm at, they don't look nothing like that. Our pine trees are way different than that. But I'll bring one. Let's see. I don't want to kill that mist right there, because that'd kill that whole effect. Tell you what, we'll come right here beside it, right here, and we'll come down, and we'll let this one disappear up into these bushes, and we'll end up putting something over the bottom of it. But we'll come right up here again and touch. Just touch up and going left and right, left to right, just all the way down. Left to right, all the way down, just like so. Remember, we're going to stop in here anyway. Now, some people don't put the straight line all the way down, and sometimes I don't. The reason for it really is just to give you a guide. But, you know, like I said, everybody don't need that guide. I mean, some people can paint it without it. And once you do enough of them, you'll be able to. I mean, it's just a preference thing, basically, is all it is. All right, now I'm going to pick up my little knife again. While we're right here at it, I'm going to pick up a little bit of that color we used up here, and we'll come up here and just touch in oh boy, that's a lot of stump. I don't need that much. Let me pull some of that out. I don't need that much trunk in this tree. I really don't. I don't need about that much trunk. come up here and I'll just side to side, I'll just rub him out, just like so. And I'll pick up even a smaller roll of paint this time, because apparently that was a huge roll. I didn't know it was that big. Alright, let's try this again. We want just a little trunk up here. Yep, I like it. Now this one can be a little wider. But even at that, you don't need a lot of trunk up here. Because remember what we said a while ago, we want some detail in these trees in this paint, but we don't need a ton of detail in none of the trees. And we may have a little too much detail in these trees, but you know, the thing of it is, once this paint's done, you'll see the overall purpose of it, I guess. Alright, now I'm going to go back and pick up my little round brush again. And this time I'm going to go over here and I'm going to pick up a little Prussian blue. I'm going to pick up a little phthalo green. And I'm going to pick up a little alizarin crimson. Because if you're not aware, alizarin crimson and phthalo green make a dark gray color, almost a black. And then I'll bring some sap green over in here for that. And I'll even put a little dark, little Van Dyke brown in it. I just want a good dark color. And if it ends up being a little to the blue side or whatever, that's fine too. Alright. So what I'll do this time is I'll start right here. And I'll go up into this one a little bit. And I'll come down. And I'll come just a little bit into that one. And I'll bring these down a little more. I'll come up to here in this one. About like so. Leave a little of that mist there. Then on this one over here, I'll come up it about like that. Make it a little wider up here. But see, we still got part of our evergreen growing out of it. Then I'll come back down. Like so. Come across here. We'll go up on this one. But this color is dark enough that it's pushing these other trees on back. We'll come in here and get us a little more of our color. We'll come up over here and we'll come up on this one. Not like so. Pick up a little bit more color. And we'll come up into this one like so. Not like that. And we'll push all this color out now. This. Because after this right here, after this layer, is when the painting starts taking a turn. It's going to be a completely flipped from what we've been doing. But so far, you can see that depth coming. Now this brush has got a ton of paint in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to brush it off on a paper towel here. And then I'm going to take a paper towel and I'm going to squeeze the bristles and just start literally pulling that paint out. Just pulling it out onto the paper towel. Because you drop this in your thinner bucket right now and it's going to contaminate it for a long time. Alright, there we go. That helped a lot. Alright, that took a lot of paint out. Alright, now it is time to, well, I'll tell you what we'll do first. We'll highlight these pines first. Now I've got a smaller fan brush for this, for highlighting. Because sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes when you, depending on the kind of trees you make, sometimes when you highlight with a smaller brush, it makes a big difference. But now it's not like that every time. Alright, I just want a little yellow in this. I still want this color to be dark green. In fact, I'll even pick up a little of the phthalo green and bring over too. Because phthalo green's a real pretty color when you highlighting evergreens too. Alright, let me pull this forward where you can see what happens. Okay. Alright. We'll come right up here at the top just like we did when we was making it. I'm going to try to keep in mind that the sun is basically, the light's coming from this way basically. So we want to, you know, if we go to showing a lot of light, we kind of mainly want to keep it on that side. I don't think it's going to show a whole lot of light with this color because it's going to start, as you're going down, it's going to start picking up that dark color. And the more you pick up of that, the darker your green will get. And that's a good thing because you don't really need a lot of the highlight color to show on these trees. Just a little bit, you know, just to show that there is some color back here. It's about all we need. Just to, and it helps separate them from the other trees. I mean that highlight, you know, it gives you a separation back here, just like color always does. Changing colors in any painting or at any place in the painting, when you change colors, you're changing a lot. You know, you changing sometimes you change the whole layout of a scene just by changing colors. Like you can put one tree in front of another with just changing color. I mean, it's just that easy. I was painting a painting one day, and by accident I got and I was highlighting evergreens just like this, and I got a little bit of yellow ochre and Indian yellow on my fan brush, and when I come up there and touched it, that color popped out of there, and it looked, I mean, it just had such a real look to it that it was amazing how that color just popped out like that. And the next tree I made, I ended up trying to make that same color, and I messed that tree up bad. I'm talking about it looked sick. It didn't look like it was supposed to. So sometimes when you have a happy accident, just learn to accept it. You know, say, wow, I'm glad that happened that time. All right, now I'm gonna take my half oval now, or my oval, the little 1-inch oval. If you got one of these, it's probably got a black handle. Unless you got lucky like I did and got a white handle one. Alright, I'm gonna go right into that same color I just used to highlight that evergreen with. And this is that point in the paint where you wanna make sure the bristles are open on your brush. You tap it in and make sure these bristles are open, because this is a very light touch. Just come up here and just keep in mind that this is a tree and that the bristles have to be open to give you a tree shape. And if if you have trouble with it going on and sticking, you can always go pick you up a little thinner and bring in it. But when you go over there and get thinner anytime, always make sure it's a little bit. You don't ever want to get a whole lot of thinner, because it will thin your paint down pretty quick and pretty easy. Alright, come in here and just got to make sure you leave yourself some darks in there while you're working these little trees and bushes in here. Just like so. Just like that, we got us a little tree over here. Alright, we'll come in and pick us up a little ochre. Since we're getting over here now by this evergreen, we want a contrasting color. Light against dark, dark against lights. Just like so. And then as it gets down to the bottom, just let it go dark. Just like that. We'll get us an Indian yellow one now. We'll make us a little Indian yellow one. We'll pick up a little bit more thinner because we're running out. I can tell by how thick the paint's getting. Like so. We'll come right up here and let this Indian yellow be our color change. And even though it's a subtle change, it's still a color change, because you can see it trying to pick that dark color up as you go further down. See, it's already trying to pick it up. So I'll pick up a little bit of red and bring up here, and I'll put just a flavor of that red in it to kind of help that color stay consistent from disappearing totally. Well, about like that's all we need. Just something to show that it's a little different in there. Just here and there. I think with all those different shades of orange in there, I really think a pretty orange bush or something would look good in here too. You know, just sneak us in a little firecracker, you know. I think it would. What do y'all think? Let's put us one right in the middle. Let's just see what it'll look like. I mean, it's our paint. We can't mess it up too bad. I don't think. If we do, we'll fix it. We'll get us a little yellow and a little red out here, and I'll mix this up in a good pretty orange color. It don't have to be too orange, but you know, just a pretty one. All right, let's come up here and just put us a firecracker in. There we go. Look at that. There's a color. We'll just come up here and touch it. Just keep in mind it is a tree, and you wanna keep that shrubbery look, or that foliage look. You always need that look. About like so. See, I think that's turning out kind of pretty with all that fullness in it like that. All right, now that we got this orange color down here, I'm gonna go pick up a little more ochre, and I'll bring that down, and I'll pick up a little more of that red and bring over here, just a little, just to tone it down some. It ain't gonna take much. Make sure the bristles are open. Then I'll come up here, and I'll let this be our color change up here. Just lightly touch. And don't kill all the dark. That's all it takes. Just working around clockwise and counterclockwise. That's all it takes. And just a light touch. Touch on and pull off. Don't smear it. Because if you smear it, you're going to go to making mud. That's what you don't want. About like that. And what that color should look like, I'll back off from here just a second and see, but yeah, see, that color looks just a little brighter than that color right beside it. Just a little bit. And that's a good thing. And we'll come back and add just a little flavor in the middle, here and there. Just to make the outside limbs just kind of pop a little. All right, now we'll come up here, and you know this color was coming sooner or later. I'm gonna pick up my alizarin crimson, and we'll bring it into the ochre, because y'all know this is one of my favorite colors right here, this peach color. I'll get just a little bit of thinner. That brush up. I'll come up here and just barely touch. Just barely touch. Just like so. Just barely touch. Just like so. That's all we're trying to do. Just slowly work it down into the dark, just like so. That's all we had to do. This color is not cooperating right here, so what I'm going to do, I hate to put white in that, because if I do, it's not going to. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll bring a little yellow into the color we just made, into that peach color, and that'll give it a little life. And we'll come back up here, and we'll go over this color in just a couple places with the same color that's already in it. But we got to do something to bring that color out, because it's just not wanting to. It still just not. I'm gonna have to go with some white. That color's just not wanting to come out and play. But we're fixing to bring it out. We are fixing to welcome it to the world. We just got to do it in a way that don't look out of place. We don't want it to mud up, and we don't want it to look too far out of place here. You know, just let it let it be its own little thing up here. There it is. It just come right out. And that one fading out a little. But we got a tree going in front of that one, I do believe. I think. Pretty sure we do. Yeah. Alright, now. We'll stop the video right here. Because we're already an hour and 15 minutes in. And I don't want to bore nobody. But this painting's really fixing to take a whole new look when we move to the foreground, and things are going to change a little. So I'll be right back.